Hello, everyone. I want to welcome you to our special webinar today. Today is Father's Day, and today we're going to be discussing how to heal from trauma and PTSD. It's a special day because today we're celebrating our fathers. And at the end of the day, we are going to wish all men a happy Father's Day. And I'm still working on the special gift I'll be giving out to all men. I'm sure that by tomorrow I'll post it on our community, and all fathers can take advantage of it. So we're going to do a special bonus for all fathers. I'm going to share it with them at most by tomorrow. I want to welcome everyone that is joining. Um, Today is going to be a special day. While we wait for others to join us, um, let's while we wait for others to join us, I want to welcome everyone, especially. I will start by introducing myself. In case you don't know me by name, my name is Dr. Emmanuel Akpe, a stress management consultant and a doctor of holistic medicine. I'm also one of the committee members of Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development here in the UK. So when it comes to stress management and mental health, I am an authority. I've been doing this for the past 11 years now, and we've taken it from the local level to the global level. Now it's become a big thing. When I started teaching about stress management, people didn't want to listen. But I guess right now, you don't need to tell anybody to listen to topics around stress management because everybody is mentally exhausted. Whether you are living in Nigeria or you are living outside Nigeria, everybody's mentally exhausted. With what is happening around the world, from Iran, US fights to Ukraine, and so many things that are happening. So I want to welcome everyone that is here. If you are watching me live, please, I want you to drop your name in the chat, your name and your location. Your name and your location. Let's know where you're chatting from. I want you to drop your name and your location. So if you are John, let's say you are John, just write in the chat, my name is John. I'm watching you from Lokoja, I'm watching you from Abuja, or I'm watching you from Turkey or the UK or US, wherever you're watching me from. So I want to see people that are here already and people that are watching me. I can see Barrister Haruna already here. So drop your name and where you're watching from. Today is going to be very, very interesting. What I will be teaching you today is mind blowing. It's going to be very interesting. Yeah, so we have Elo is here. Aliyu Ibrahim from Abuja. Thank you so much, my good friend. Thank you, Elo, for joining. And I'm so happy to have every one of us here. It takes a lot of commitment for you to actually join this kind of training. So I was saying earlier that uh, no matter where you live, issues around stress and mental health is a serious problem. It's a serious problem. Some days ago, I think that was yesterday. I think, yeah, that was yesterday. I had a special, was it yesterday or Friday? I think it was on Friday. I had a special session with some Nigerians in the UK and some other parts of the world, because not just the UK, people join from other parts of the world. What is the problem? The problem is that we are losing a lot of Nigerians here in the UK. In fact, one of my friends told me that almost every week there is a funeral of a Nigerian. Almost every week there's a funeral of a Nigerian. And do you know the funny thing? Yes, Barrister Rona was there in the meeting. Thank you very much for attending. So every week there's a funeral. Every week there is a funeral. And do you know the funny thing? Most of these deaths are stress related. In fact, somebody showed me a chart It was a white guy that sent him the chat to say we lost the Nigerian that we're taking care of in our clinic. This person was taking care of a Nigerian, and my friend went to visit. So they met the white guy and they started chatting. So it was like the Nigerian that you came to visit just passed on, and it is stress related. In fact, he didn't mince word or mince word about it. He said it's stress related. Someone also sent me a chat. A young man just came back from work, had a shower, went to bed, and never woke up. So the impact of stress on Nigerians in the UK is tremendous. Imagine spending millions of naira moving over to the UK or moving your family abroad, because moving your family to another country is not a small feat. It's very expensive. So imagine spending all that money to move your family abroad, then die from work stress. It's a very serious problem. So I want to look at see people that are joining us. Paul Ogbu is joining us from Abuja. Thank you so much. Rhoda is joining from Port Harcourt. These are regular people that are always coming here every Sunday. And of course, I am noting down the names of people that are joining us because um, they deserve to be honored. Every Sunday you are here with me. So just continue, share the link with people who you think need to be here, because people are traumatized. People are traumatized. A lot of people are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, and they are not aware that that is what they are suffering from. So today we'll be looking at how to heal from trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder. That's what we'll be looking at today. But before we start, something very important I want us to see. That is, I want us to look at something very important. That is the basic stress management certificate course. The basic stress management certificate course. The next batch is starting on the 5th of July. I can't stress this enough. There are some things that there's so much that I can say on a webinar like this, and there's so much that I can express. But you see, the basic stress management certificate course, I poured out my heart. The good thing is that it is pre-recorded, so everything has been recorded. All you need to do is to follow the module, watch the videos, comment on the platform which I'm going to create for everybody who will be participating, interact with other people, meet with people who are also doing other things, and we take it off from there. Most of my sessions, let me say this is the 4th batch now. The last 3 batches, we had different categories of people. We had politicians, we had top business people, we had the senior executives of different parastatals. We have highly placed people in the country. We had military generals attending and different people. So it's not for small boys. When I mean small boys, it's not for people who are struggling or trying to start up with life. These are people who are matured, who have seen life, and they have gotten to a point where they say, I need some basic skills. So if you have not attended the basic stress management certificate course, I can assure you that we will want you to attend, and you will never regret it. There is nobody that has attended that has ever regretted. There was one time, I think it was the first batch, when we wanted to start, I told some of the people that were doubtful whether they would benefit from the course or not. I told them that, okay, they should register. If after the first 1 week, because it used to be 6 weeks before we proned it to 14 days. So I told them that if after the first 1 week you don't like the course, then you can go. No risk, nothing. You don't need to give me any money. Just come participate. And do you know, every single one of them paid after 1 week. And it's just 25,000 naira. But this 25,000 naira will give you a lifetime of knowledge that will help you and help others around you. In fact, some of the people that have participated in the basic stress management certificate course are now teaching others how to manage stress. And the good thing is that the certificate that you will receive at the end of this course will certify you as a stress management practitioner. And it is linked or affiliated with the government of the United Kingdom. So we are registered with an organization that supervises all training companies in the UK. And we are registered, we paid, we registered duly. So if I'm giving you a certificate, the certificate I'm giving to you is recognized by the UK government because we have our registration number. So you're not just getting a regular certificate, you're getting something that is of international standard. And you know, some of these courses for 25,000 is very cheap. I'm telling you the fact. The value you're going to get is so much compared to how much you're paying. And honestly, by the next batch, you might not be charging 25,000. That is just the truth. We would have increased the price. So this is the best chance you have to register. And if you're going to register this week, you know, between now and the end of the week by Sunday, register. You will get a 3-day intensive detoxification fruit fasting plan that I've made specially for my clients. So I've decided to give it to you free of charge, and you will have it. Then also there are some trainings I will be having, which will be free for the alumni, because after graduating from the basic stress management certificate course, you are added to an alumni group. In that alumni group, you would participate in some international trainings I do. I invite them to come join me, like the one I did last Friday. Some of them came to, some of the people came to listen to it, you know. And some of that ones I'm having, you have access to most of my trainings, international trainings I do, and some of the webinars or paid courses I'll be doing in the community will be free for those who have registered for the basic stress management certificate course. But every other person will have to pay. And we're starting that by the end of July. I'm going to have a special training for business owners and top professionals on how to manage stress. But if you're already a member of the alumni of the basic stress management certificate course or the stress management school, you wouldn't have to pay again for that course. It will be totally free for you, you know. So this is the best chance you have to register. I believe that if you are hearing me, you should have it at the back of your mind that email you finish this webinar, you register and send your evidence of payment to Modesta on the number that is I'm going to show on the screen very soon. And also on the description of the YouTube, I've put a link where you can get all the details you need about the course and the details, account details for payment. You can make payments even while I'm having this talk, and let us know that you've registered, and we'll really appreciate that. So let's go back to our talk for today. Today is going to be very wonderful. I'm going to share some deep things about trauma and PTSD. You know, I just finished my MSc psychology and I got my certificate during the week. And one of the courses we had was forensic psychology. In forensic psychology, we actually handled the detection of criminal cases, you know, investigations, due diligence that are done in investigation, and how investigations are done generally, you know, how to be able to catch a criminal. Let me use the Nigerian word. How to be able to pinpoint where the criminal is, or to tell if somebody is innocent or guilty. So those are the things that we were taught. And you know, I discovered something. Almost every criminal that we studied had issues with post-traumatic stress disorder. Every criminal we studied, almost every criminal we studied, had issues with post-traumatic stress disorder. What does it mean? It means that something happened to them that triggered them to go into crime. Let me give you a typical example. There was one of them that It was a young boy, a very small boy. I think it was around 10, 11 when armed robbers came to their house, terrorized them, and I think they killed the father. So he grew up with that bitterness that he is going to retaliate later in future. And that was exactly what happened. Later in future, he became a hardened criminal and he went about started killing people in retaliation to what he experienced. So he has not healed from the trauma of seeing the father die. And that was what triggered him to go out and start harming other people. There was one other guy too. He was one of the worst serial killers in history. In fact, they did a documentary on him. I've forgotten the name of the documentary, but they did a documentary on him. How did he turn into crime? His father used to get a hold of, all this guinea pig. His father was a scientist. So you get a hold of the guinea pig, and the father called him as a small boy. I think he was around 9 years old. So the father will call him to the lab, and the father will hold the live guinea pig and dissect it so that he will be able to study the internal organ. The father didn't know that that singular act was traumatizing his son. But he didn't know. He thought his son was enjoying it. So the son grew up, started doing the same thing the father was doing. He will catch live animals and dissect it. After some time, he decided to graduate to start catching live human beings. Let me put it that way. So he graduated from animals into humans. So you get a woman, mostly his target was ladies. You will get a woman and tie the person up just the way the father was doing it and dissect the person. So that became a very serious problem for the society because it was hard to detect him because he was very intelligent. Nobody knew that he was doing that. And if you look at his face, he had a very innocent face that you will never believe that this kind of person can do this. So everybody who has gone into one kind of crime or the other suffered a form of post-traumatic stress disorder. I want us to just do a little bit of talk about a post-traumatic stress disorder. Then I would before I even go into post-traumatic stress disorder, I want us to recap what I mentioned about trauma. So, and I said that trauma is an emotional and emotional or psychological response to something that is happening around you. Your emotional response, like that small child, he had an emotional response, which was anger. Some people might not have emotional response, they might have psychological response. Some people break down mentally. I have seen somebody that almost ran mad because the boyfriend said he's not doing it again, he's not going to marry her. And she almost went crazy. That is psychological breakdown as a result of trauma. So it is your response to things happening around you that leads to trauma. Trauma doesn't occur because something happened to you. Trauma occurs to you because you responded emotionally or psychologically to what happened around you. That is what leads to trauma. So if you respond positively, you will not be traumatized. If your perspective about the issue that happened, is that of, well, it has happened, we move on with life. It pained me, and I have gone through the 5 stages of grief. Maybe that could be something I will teach next Sunday, the 5 stages of grief. So I've gone through the 5 stages of grief and I have healed. So when I remember the situation, when I remember what happened, I am no longer traumatized. I am no longer emotional or affected psychologically. I am healed totally. So when you get to that point, that is when you can say, okay, I am totally free. But until you get to that point, there is still a problem. So trauma results into a few things, and I'm going to be sharing some of them with you. I wrote down a few of them, and I want to share some of them with you. So trauma results into emotional outbursts, and trauma results into panic attack, also results into depression. In fact, a lot of suicide cases started from trauma. Somebody just waking up one day and saying, I've had enough. I don't think I can survive this world anymore. Started from trauma. Have you not heard cases of people who were raped as children, and they never healed from it? They never healed from it. And some of them went ahead to commit suicide. Have you not heard cases like that? I remember the story of Joyce Meyer. How many of us know Joyce Meyer? If you know Joyce Meyer, say I know Joyce Meyer in the comments. Let me see how many of us know Joyce Meyer. A very popular international speaker, Joyce Meyer. If you know Joyce Meyer, please let me see it in the comment that yes, I know Joyce Meyer. As we are doing that, Dorothy Aribe is here. Thank you very much for joining. And then my good friend from Calabar is also here. Thank you so much for joining. So, and if you know you are here, you've not introduced yourself, just give us your name and where you are watching me from. And also, if you have not shared this link, please do so. Not because of anything serious, but because you want other people to know. So put it on your status, copy the link, share it to people that you know need this. So Taylor says, I know Joyce Meyer. Joyce Meyer was a very popular preacher. A very popular preacher, was performing signs and wonders. But guess what? It was his own father. It was her own father that raped her when she was a small child. So despite the fact that she was preaching, it took her a whole lot of time, a whole lot of messages of healing, and God actually dealing with her to actually say, I want to forgive my father. And even after she forgave her father, she got married. It affected her in marriage. It affected her so much that she found it difficult coping with a man because she hated all men. And there are a lot of people today that are not married because of the experiences they had and they have not healed from. So trauma is so dangerous that it can actually derail your life. It can actually put you on a situation that is so difficult for you to come back from. Do you know that there are a lot of adults even watching me right now that are still living based on their childhood trauma? They are still moving on with life based on their childhood trauma. There are some people that beat the hell out of their children. There are some people that beat the hell out of their children at every offense. Why? Because when they were kids, they were beaten. When they were kids, their parents traumatized them. So now they are adults, they've carried that same trauma into their home and they are traumatizing their children. You need to heal. Many of the adults you are seeing moving around in the country, moving around everywhere, going to work, people are meeting in the offices, even meeting in church, many of them are traumatized. They have still not healed from their childhood trauma. They have still not healed. They are still suffering from their childhood trauma. And that is the reason why they are toxic. That is the reason why they don't like anybody, because they are still struggling from their childhood trauma. And it's a very, very bad thing. I will talk about signs of trauma. You know, there are some few things you see and you can tell yourself that I'm really traumatized. A few signs. It's divided into physical, emotional, behavioral, and mental signs. I know I've talked about this before, but it's good I give a background so that when we go into post-traumatic stress disorder, you have a full understanding of what I am talking about. So some of the signs could be fatigue. You are always tired because it is mentally exhausting for you to be traumatized. It is mentally exhausting, especially if you have not healed. You are still going through the situation, you're still thinking about it. It's mentally exhausting. And you could be having headaches, body pain, rapid heartbeat. Some people developed hypertension from a single trauma. Maybe they were visited by the evil guys, or maybe something happened. I remember the first bomb blast in Abuja. How many of you remember the first bomb blast? I know that Tehila will remember because we were all living in the same area in Abuja. Then that's the Nyanya area. That's where I was living. So the first bomb blast that occurred during Jonathan's time, I was prepared already, heading to the bus stop to take a bus to town. You know, we had all these big luxurious buses, like all these, what do they call it now? Aero 5 buses, that's what they call them now. We had almost like 20 in the park. So all of them were in the park and they moved people to the town. So I just got a job in Gwarimpa, and I wanted to go to work that day. As I was preparing for work, the environment changed, so that you know that some things that happen are not just physical, some things that happen are spiritual. There's a kind of heavy wind that started blowing all over Nyanya. Not anywhere in town, just all over Nyanya. It was as if it wanted to rain. So I was now wondering what's going on. It was even that wind that delayed me. If not, I would have been at the bus stop when the thing happened. So I was delayed and I was already running late, because for me to meet up, I resume 8 o'clock. For me to meet up, I have to leave the house by 7 o'clock. If I don't leave the house by 7 o'clock, the Nyanya traffic will keep me on the road until 9 o'clock. So I leave at least 6:30 or 7. So that day, I was just dilly-dallying. I don't know what, maybe God was just holding me back, you know. And my wife was heavily pregnant. So as at the time I just carried my bag and I stepped out of the house that we're living, the compound. I just stepped out of the house to go take a bike to get to the bus station. And what I heard was a loud sound that shook the foundation of our house. What is going on? Everybody was asking what is going on. I ran out of the compound to ask what was going on. And by the time we started hearing people, Okada started carrying people who had no legs, people who had no hands, and different injury, just putting people on Okada. People started running etasketa. And we're asking what was going on. There was a bomb blast. The bomb blast was so heavy that it burnt almost 20 Aero 5 buses. It was so heavy that it dug a hole in the ground that can swallow a car. In fact, it was not the bomb that actually killed some people. It was the wave that came after the bomb blast that killed people. So it was so traumatic and traumatizing for me, being that I would have been in that bus, but yet I wasn't there. It was traumatic for me because at the end of the day, I still went to that place when security people came and started surveying to know what happened and all that. Of course, the terrorists, people who did that had already left, you know. So I went to that place. I saw all manner of things, that I cannot describe here. And it was traumatizing for me. The next month, I carried all my all my load. I told my wife, "Oh yeah, let's move. This is not the place for me. God has saved me the first time." And it happened the second time again. I don't want to share this, but it happened the second time again. So when it happened the second time again, I told my wife, "No, this is not our Canaan land. Let's move to town." And that's how we moved over to Gwarimpa. And that's where I stayed until I left. So what am I trying to say? I was traumatized to the point that when I hear Christmas period, when I hear knockout, I will feel so bad, as if a bomb blast or something like that happened. Yeah, so I want to drop this comment because she was there, and that's where I think that's where I knew her. It was really traumatizing for a lot of us that were there. But guess what? The government didn't have any form of therapy for anybody. The government didn't do anything for everybody. A lot of people developed hypertension because you don't know what is going to happen. And there's always traffic on that road. You can be on traffic and something will just happen. And that was what happened in the second bomb blast. It was on the traffic. Just as people were going home, the person just ran out of the car and the car just detonated. So you don't know what is happening. And it was really, really bad. That is what can cause hypertension. That was what happened to a lot of people. And people started developing physical signs, a lot of physical signs. So more people are joining us. Thank you very much. Okon from Abuja, thank you. Tahila from Abuja also, thank you very much. Reverend Mr. Shed from UK, thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate this. So we've got emotional signs. Some people don't show physical signs, but they show emotional signs. What are emotional signs? Fear. And fear is traumatizing. I said it last week that fear can paralyze you. Fear can make your immune system to be low. Fear can move nutrients that is supposed to go to your brain and oxygen that is supposed to go to your brain, can move it to other parts of the body. And because of that, you start feeling dizzy. Have you not seen fear paralyze some people? You will not be able to move just because of fear. So that is why in the Bible, before Jesus could perform any miracle, the first thing he says is that be not afraid. Because if you are afraid, there will be no miracle. So in every aspect of life, fear can paralyze you. Fear can demoralize you. Fear can make you not to take a step. There are some people that are supposed to be doing so mightily well, known everywhere. But because they are too afraid to take a step, that is where the reason why they are where they are today. I might be speaking to somebody today. You are where you are today because you are too afraid to take a step. You are too afraid to launch that business. You are too afraid to do anything that you have wanted to do, because of fear. You are paralyzed. And such fear could come from something that happened before. Maybe you have failed before and it traumatized you, then made you afraid, and you don't want to take another step. Or you took a step and everybody laughed at you because you didn't do well. Because of that, you don't want to take another step. Remember a small child that is learning how to walk. That child will take the first step, take the second step, and fall. Sometimes start crying. When the child falls, do you know all adults will start laughing at the child? But does it stop the child from taking the next step? No. The child will also get up and continue taking steps until the child finally learns how to walk. In whatever you do in this life, never stop. Never give up to say, I am not doing again. I've tried my best. Even if you have done it so many times, it's still not working. Strategize and find a way to make it to work. So behavioral science, avoiding people, isolation, those are some of the things that you could experience if you are traumatized. Have you noticed that Sometimes when a child is being traumatized from anything, it could be from molestation or whatever it is. If a child is being traumatized, you know that the child becomes isolated. The child will stop speaking to other people. The child that used to be jovial, always dancing, always happy, all of a sudden stops talking to people. You know that the child is traumatized. But do you know, parents just assume that the child maybe is changing character because he's becoming an adolescent or something like that. No, not necessarily. It could be that the child is experiencing something, or somebody has threatened the child to say, if you do this, I'm going to deal with you. Okay, really, really sorry. I don't know what happened, but the network just went off. I think has to do from the connection, but I'm really, really sorry. The thing just went off. So, but we're back now. We're back, and we'll continue from where I stopped. I hope you can still hear me. If you can hear me, just say I can hear you. Okay, so we'll continue while I wait for your comment to be sure that you are hearing me. So, mental signs. There are some mental signs that can actually make you feel know that there's something wrong, and one of them is flashbacks. Sometimes what happened plays before you as if it's a movie. Sometimes you remember the things that happened to you, like most of the children that are being taken into the forest by all these bandits and stuff like that. You know, when they come out and they hear gunshot or whatever sound, they become traumatized just from it, and that becomes a big problem. So if they are not properly taken care of, or any trauma, any therapy, that kind of therapy arranged for them, for life, they could be traumatized from flashbacks and nightmares. Okay, thank you very much. You can hear me, and I appreciate that. Flashbacks, nightmares, constant worrying, fear, difficulty concentrating because you are disorganized mentally. And sometimes you can even start thinking some negative thoughts. There are some people that are thinking a lot of bad thoughts just because of what they've experienced. So now let's look at post-traumatic stress disorder. So post-traumatic stress disorder is a condition that is developed after witnessing something that is traumatic. They call it post-traumatic stress disorder because it happens after. It is bad enough that you are experiencing trauma. Now, after you have experienced the trauma and you think it's all over, there is something waiting for you in front, and it is called post-traumatic stress disorder. So for post-traumatic stress disorder, it happens after something has happened, something that shook you has happened. There are some people that, let's say husband and wife, they love themselves very well. Have you noticed that when one goes, it doesn't take time, the other will also go? Because the trauma of the death of the person was still affecting the one that was alive, to the point where it triggered some chemical reactions in the body, and the person also went to meet the spouse in the great beyond. So those are some of the things that happened. There are a few symptoms which are sometimes similar but a little bit different from the symptom of trauma itself. So for post-traumatic stress disorder, there are some symptoms that are very prominent, and one of them is reliving the traumatic experience. This is very, very powerful. This is very, very powerful. Reliving the traumatic experience. Sometimes you close your eyes, it's as if you are reliving everything. It's as if it's happening afresh. It's as if you are still in the kidnapper's den, or you are still in the bush. So that experience can traumatize you even long after you have experienced that trauma that you actually went through. Reliving the experience is so powerful that when you perceive the odor or the smell similar to something you perceived when you were experiencing that trauma, you'll be traumatized afresh. Let's say when you were in the bush, God forbid bad thing, but when you were experiencing something that was traumatic, there's a particular odor you were perceiving. It could even be a perfume, a very expensive perfume, but the person traumatizing you is wearing that perfume, and that is what you are perceiving every time. Do you know, months after you have left that experience, do you know that if you perceive that perfume, you will start reliving the whole experience? So this can happen either as good or as bad. Sometimes if something good happened to you and you perceive a smell when that thing was happening to you, do you know that after everything, if you perceive that smell again, you will remember the good thing that happened? Same as something that is bad too. So if you perceive the smell when you were being traumatized, that smell or that perfume or that odor, whatever it is, will remain a source of trauma for you if you are not very careful. You could have flashbacks and nightmares because of what has happened. So it's triggering your dreams, even affecting you in your dreams. You see masquerade chasing you, you see somebody chasing you with cutlass to harm you or whatever, just because of something that you experienced. So it has become a psychological problem and has seeped into your dream. That is very instructive, because most of the things you dream about are things that are going on inside your mind. They leak out as dreams. That is actually what happens sometimes. So you avoid things that will remind you. You avoid things that will remind you of that particular situation. There are sometimes that things remind you of that situation and you try to avoid them, especially if it's a particular location. So some people have had to change location because they experienced trauma in where they were staying. So they had to relocate. Some people have changed school because the student experienced trauma in that school. They had to change school entirely so that the student can concentrate. So if you're avoiding certain things, avoiding certain people, avoiding certain areas, those are the signs that you could be suffering from PTSD. Then emotional numbness. Something is happening that should touch you and make you shed tears if possible, and you feel less concerned about it. Know that you must have suffered trauma and that has made you emotionally numb. There are some things that happen in our country, even abroad. There are some things that happen and people still move on. Remember, I shared a story the last time, I think that was last Sunday, that here in the UK, if a dog is subjected to harm, any kind of harm, whoever caused it will be arrested and jailed. A dog. If a cat is missing, they will take a picture of the cat and print a poster, then paste it on different signposts to say, so cat is missing. If you see the cat, please report to the owner or report to the police. So you see people calling the police to say, the cat that was declared missing, I found the cat. Please, can you reunite it with the owner? If somebody dies, one person dies, the whole country will be in trouble. It was one person that died a few weeks ago that the whole country, everybody started talking about it. Some places decided rioting. One singular person. In fact, the guy didn't even die. Somebody took a knife and wanted to harm the person, but he didn't even do it because they stopped him and the other person was taken to the hospital. So the person didn't even die. But people started rioting in Northern Ireland. People started rioting in Manchester, in different parts of the country, because of that kind of thing. Something that happened that almost led to the death of somebody. Now imagine a country where things worse than that is happening and everybody's moving as if nothing is happening. Somebody was telling me recently that the amount of crime that is being reported on social media is a little tiny amount compared to what is actually happening on ground. And it's because of emotional numbness. It's because of emotional numbness. People no longer feel anything. That is the reason why somebody can experience that and still go on with life as if nothing happened. The president will not say anything about it. No politician will say anything about it. The House of Reps, senators, everybody's mute about what happened. They're not sharing their experience. Nobody's talking about it. The only people talking about it are those on social media. And after some time, it dies down and everybody return back to their normal life. That is what is called stress inoculation. You can stress people to a point where they accept it as their reality. And even if you are stressing them the more, they will be like, well, yeah, the man has tried his best. In fact, the man is trying. So from stress, he enters into trauma bonding. Trauma bonding is a situation where you love the person that is oppressing you. You love the person that is oppressing you. So the person is dealing with you, but you love the person so much. That is trauma bonding. And a lot of people are experiencing trauma bonding today. So the person becomes hyper vigilant. Any small noise, the person is awake. Cockroach will pass, the person is awake. Any small noise. Because this person can no longer sleep deep. Doesn't want to be caught unawares again. That's exactly what happens. Difficulty trusting people. Maybe the person was betrayed by friends or people he or she knew. There will be so much difficulty trying to trust people, and that could be a problem. That could be a problem. So these are some of the signs that you can see, and you tell yourself that actually I am traumatized. How do you heal from post-traumatic stress disorder? How do you heal from post-traumatic stress disorder? I'm going to be sharing a few information on how you can heal from post-traumatic stress disorder. The truth is that it's a process. It's not something that happens all of a sudden. It's actually a process. And I'm going to be sharing with you that process and how you can actually turn that process for your own good. Post-traumatic stress disorder. How can you heal? I had to put down some of these things so that I don't forget, because it's a lot, it's a lot. So I had to put them down, write them down so that I don't miss every single point. I have so much in my head that if care is not taken, I might miss out some things, and I don't want to miss out anything. So I had to document it, put it down so that I get every single thing. So I'm going to share a few things you can do to heal from post-traumatic stress disorder. Then we'll call it a day. Please pay attention to this part. This is the most interesting part, of all the talk I've been having, because if you don't know how to heal from either trauma or post-traumatic stress disorder, how do you heal from anything else? In fact, those are the basic things. Those are the main things that affect a lot of people, that actually lead to mental breakdown. So if you don't understand how you can heal, you have a long way to go. The first process in being healed from a trauma or a post-traumatic stress disorder is to acknowledge the fact that this thing has happened and I am traumatized. If you don't accept the fact that you are traumatized, then you cannot heal from trauma. Let me give you a typical example. If somebody is having, let's say, HIV now, I'm using this example because this will happen real life. Somebody's having HIV, we've done all the tests, and it has come to us that this person has HIV. Yet the person doesn't want to agree that he has HIV. The person doesn't want to agree that he has HIV. Will the person be healed? Even if not totally healed, but at least there are some medications you can take now, and your viral load will be reduced to very minimal, that you can even live your normal life and it's as if nothing has happened to you. So, but if the person doesn't acknowledge the fact that he is having HIV to even start the treatment, there'll be no healing. So why I said that, I'm saying this because it happened to somebody, was that the hospital I used to work before, there's this guy, very spiritual guy, a serious Christian. So we ran the test and he was HIV positive. And we told him that this thing is very simple. Go to any government hospital and register with PEPFAR. They used to have HIV clinic where you take medication for free. The government has already paid for it. And we told him, just go in, make payments. It's okay. He said, no, I don't believe I have HIV. I'm going to go pray and I will come back in 3 months to prove to you people that I don't have HIV. And we told him that in those 3 months, your life may not remain the same again. But this man was adamant. So he left because you can't force people. He left. He went to the mountain. He started praying. And after 3 months, by the time he was coming back to us, that HIV has moved from HIV to AIDS. You know, AIDS is the final stage where the person loses weight and the viral load is off the roof, and then the person is almost dying or about to die. So by the time he was coming back to us, it was like a skeleton. And we're all looking at him. I didn't even know what to say to him anymore. Because at that point, it was already too late. A few weeks later, he was dead. He died in the hospital. The truth is this: if you don't acknowledge that you have a problem, there cannot be any solution. So the first step is for you to stop pretending that everything is okay. You know, sometimes because of our religious faith, we pretend a lot to say, everything is okay. But if you want to really heal, don't pretend. Say it as it is. Acknowledge it. Accept it. Acceptance is not weakness. Acceptance is courage. The fact that you accept that you are sick or that doesn't mean that you will not be healed. It's acknowledging the fact that something is wrong with me and I'm going to get a solution. That is a better confession than for you to say that I'm not sick, but you are sick. I understand all the confession, positive affirmation and all that. But if you acknowledge it and you say, I know I have this, but I will be healed, you still get a better result. You know, sometimes when I was working in the hospital, when you tell somebody that your sugar level is 200 milligram, which is purely diabetic, and it's even going into complication, those very spiritual people will say, doctor, you are the one that has diabetes, not me. So that's first of all denial. And it is very difficult to treat such people. Very difficult. Then the second step is to talk about it. Talk about it. Don't keep it to yourself. Some people experience some traumatic experiences and they keep it to themselves. They don't share it with other people. You are just doing yourself. You're harming yourself. So trauma grows in silence. Trauma grows in silence. If you share your traumatic experience with somebody, there's this kind of joy you feel. There's this kind of relief it gives you where you share your experience with somebody. It's just like you have a hot gist you want to share with something happened. Do you know that you will start looking for who to share it with? And after you have shared it, there's a relief you get, a kind of joy you get that I finally unleashed this information or this good news. You know, same with trauma. If you keep silent, the trauma will keep growing until the point where you start hearing voices telling you to do things to harm yourself. Talk to trusted friends, talk to family members that are matured, talk to faith leaders. It could be your pastor, it could be your imam, it could be anybody, but somebody you trust. Talk to counselors, talk to therapists. People like us, you can pay for consultation. I used to do free in those days, but no longer free. I'm no longer free. I'm no longer offering free services. Let me put it that way. So you want to talk to me, can talk to my EA, Modesta. We'll book an appointment. We'll talk. Somebody had a challenge recently, and when we finished talking, the person said, your talk is a therapy to me. You know, because I have been in this business for a long time. So when it comes to talking people out of trauma, talking people out of stress, I am really, really gifted with it. I can speak to you, and if you wanted to commit suicide or you wanted to do anything, you stop it immediately. You know, so you want to talk to somebody You can book a session and we speak. Or you can even enroll for my course. And by the time you are going through the course, you are getting healed, because everything that's going to be said in the course is going to speak to you directly, honestly. So the third process, or the third step, is to stop blaming yourself. Many times when people survive trauma, they blame themselves. Like, if I had known, I wouldn't have traveled. It's because I traveled, that's why I entered one chance. It's because I left the house, that's why this happened to me. Especially if somebody told you not to go and you disobeyed and you left, you start blaming yourself. Or something happened, you say it's my fault. It's because I'm stubborn. That is why this thing happened to me. Because I don't used to hear word. So you start blaming yourself. You start finding faults. You understand? In yourself, to say, I am the reason why this thing happened. Just like Jonah, they experienced storm on their way to Nineveh. Was it to Nineveh, or it was running away from Nineveh? In the Bible, sorry. So they experienced storm, and Jonah told them that I am the reason why this thing is happening. If you throw me into the sea, you will see that everywhere will be quiet. And truly, when they threw him into the sea, everywhere was quiet. So stop blaming yourself. Stop thinking that you are the reason why something happens. Some people lose their loved ones and they think they are the ones that caused it. It's because I didn't pray well. If I prayed very well, you wouldn't have died. So stop blaming yourself for whatever has happened. Stop blaming yourself. Now, the fourth step is to build a kind of psychological safety around yourself. Make your place to be as safe as possible. If there are people that are triggering those traumatic experiences or laughing at you, if you have the opportunity, move away from such people. Build healthy relationship. Meet people who are very kind. Make new friends. You mustn't stay with your friends for a long time. If you know that becoming problems, make new friends. Build new relationships. This is more difficult when the person traumatizing you is married to you. If the person traumatizing you is married to you, it's a different ball game. And in the course of this webinars, I'm going to teach you how to heal from emotional or relationship pain, and what to do if you are in that kind of situation where the person that vowed to protect you is the one hurting you. I'm going to share that with you. But for today, we're just looking at PTSD. So avoid unnecessary exposure to things that can distress you. If social media is distressing you, maybe watching all those videos that people keep sharing of beheading and some of those gory videos, please avoid them. Once you send a video to me and I see viewers discretion, how do they used to say it? Viewers discretion advised. I advise myself to delete the video or to turn away from the video. Because before you advise me to take my own discretion whether to watch it or not, I advise myself not to watch it. It's not all videos I watch. Some of them, as you are sending it to me, I am deleting it because I've seen that is something that will spoil my day. So anything that is distressing, avoid it. Learn stress management skills. You cannot survive in life without any stress management skills. Some people are just existing. They are not living life. They are permanently stressed. When I mean permanently stressed, every time they are stressed, there is no end to their stress. It's from one problem to the other, from one issue to the other. There is something always to stress about. There are some people like that. If you don't learn the basic stress management skills, things like breathing exercise, things like the kind of exercises you can do, meditation, journaling, relaxation techniques, healthy sleeping habits, and so many things that are included in stress management. If you don't know those basic skills, it will be very difficult for you to heal from post-traumatic stress disorder. And these are the things we're going to teach you during the basic stress management certificate course. So if you have not registered for it, please go ahead and register today, and you will get our 3 days food fasting detox therapy plan for free. It costs thousands of naira to get those therapy, but you are getting it for free. The sixth step is to manage exposure to bad news. So the thing is this: you are trying to heal. You are trying to take your mind off the stressful situation, so that at the long run, when you remember that situation, it will no longer affect you. Time, they say, heals all injuries, heals all wounds, heals all injuries, whatever offenses, So you are giving yourself time to heal, so that when you remember the traumatic situation or the traumatic event, it means nothing to you. All these stages, all these steps that I'm giving to you helps you to change your perspective, to distract you in a positive way, so that at the end of the day, when you see those things, it means nothing to you. Let me give you a typical example. Let's say somebody lost someone, and he's being visited by friends, by well-wishers. Do you know that there are some people that will visit that person, and the woman will start crying, rolling on the ground, because they will open up the wound? Meanwhile, there are others that will visit that same woman, and the woman be so joyous, so happy. The woman that lost the husband, so it's so happy that you came. We're like, thank you very much for coming. You have made my day today. What is the difference? The difference is that there is a change of perspective. There is a change of the way the person sees things. So this other person was able to distract her, to make her see things in a different way, despite the fact that the loss of the loved one is not going anywhere. It's not going to change, but it's still not affecting her at the moment, because she has been distracted. So the purpose of the healing is to distract you and give you enough time to heal. So in doing this, you need to manage your exposure to bad news. There are a lot of information that is being spread on social media that are traumatizing. Limit yourself. Don't expose yourself to so much bad news. It will trigger those trauma again. Then seek professional help. If you have tried everything and it's not working, seek professional help. There is nothing wrong with enrolling in a course, or there's nothing wrong in paying someone to say that, okay, please, can you help me? I want to come out of this situation. There's nothing wrong in it. In the long run, you are still going to benefit from it. You are still going to be the one that will enjoy it to the fullest. So I will stop here today. As I said earlier, next Sunday, I'm going to be teaching you the stages of grief. The stages of grief. Why am I teaching you the stages of grief? Not because you're going to grieve, not because something bad is going to happen, but I'm going to show you what to teach to other people that are experiencing grief, maybe loss of loved one, or something very, very terrible happens to the person. You need to learn how to manage that, because if you understand the stages, you can know where the person is. For instance, the person that is experiencing denial, if you know that is the stage the person is, you can actually tell the person how to go to the next stage, because some people remain in denial and don't go past denial. They tell you that this thing has not happened, this person has not gone, is still with us. That is denial. So I'm going to teach you next week. Invite people, let people know what is happening. This is something brilliant that is happening, but we need more people to know about it. So I'm going to take questions in the next 5 minutes and we'll call it a day. For the people who haven't gotten the fruit fasting detox therapy plan, 3 days fruit fasting detox therapy plan, and you have registered for the course, please contact Modesta. Let me put the number. I know we have done this before, so let me see. Okay, here we go. So the number is scrolling on your screen. Contact Modesta, and she's going to give you the PDF file. And we're going to do the 3 days fruit fasting therapy towards the end of July. So the course is going to end around 18th of July. So the last weekend of July, starting the first half of the year, we're going to do 3 days of fruit fasting. So if you don't have it here, you are going to buy it at that time. If you have not registered for the course and you don't have it, you are going to buy it because it's not going to be free. Or if you want to join us, it's going to be a paid therapy session. It's not going to be free. So if you register for the course, you get it for free. But if you don't register for the course, when we are doing it and you want to benefit, you want to join us, you have to pay to join the community where we're going to do the therapy. The therapy is so powerful that there was a lady that was having heavy menstrual flow. She said she doesn't use pad. She uses Pampers because the flow is usually very heavy. So sometimes it stains, even with the Pampers, she still has stain all over her clothes. She decided to join in the 3 days fruit fasting that we did. And for the first time, she had a normal flow. Until date, she still has a normal flow. Just from 3 days fruit fasting, her whole system was detoxified. Because the truth is this: when you take a lot of fruits, not just any kind of fruits, when you take a lot of fruits and vegetables, which we are going to tell you, you will alkalinize the body. The body is full of acids from carbohydrates, acids from protein, amino acid, all that from protein, and some reactions in the body that produces an acidic environment. And it's under acidic environment that bacteria thrive. It's under acidic environments that people develop fibroid. It's under acidic environments that the whole body system becomes disorganized. But when you ingest a lot of fruits and vegetables that has a higher pH, that's the ionic strength now is towards the alkaline aspect. It will alkalinize the body, and when the body is alkalinized, toxins will flow out naturally. You discover that your urine start changing color. First of all, it will become very dark. Then after some time, it becomes light. So as you're drinking in those things, the body is flushing out those things. You discover that sometimes your sweat starts smelling during the 3 days fasting. Sometimes you start experiencing some headache. It's because the body is trying to detoxify itself. So when you're taking more fluid, you're taking more water, it flushes out those things and you feel better. So after this whole process, the body will look as if it was like the body of a newborn baby. That is how your body will look like that of a newborn baby. So we're going to do that in July. And if you have already done the course, you're going to get the therapy plan for free. But if you haven't done the course, you're going to purchase it and join us to do the therapy. So is there any question? While I was discussing this, we'll soon call it a day. I think some people dropped a few experiences they had. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So one of us said, this happened to me after a car crash, and the smell during the accident kept coming back to me for a long time. Not a good experience, of course. So you keep perceiving the smell of that thing that happened, around you, and it's you associate with the smell with that experience. You associate the smell with that experience. You can actually do this experiment with animals. If you associate a smell with a time when you give a dog food, if you spray that perfume, despite the fact that there's no food, the dog will start salivating. I think there was one scientist that did that experiment and got that also. So if you have questions, just drop it in the comments. And one of us also said, I have been so traumatized living in Abuja. My housekeeper was kidnapped in Tazi. I am still in shock, even though she was released, a 19-year-old. So she wasn't the one that was kidnapped, but her housekeeper was kidnapped. Yet she was traumatized. That is how bad trauma is. So I want you to go back, watch this video after today, settle down again, like tomorrow, go through the video again and relieve and start practicing some of the things that I mentioned, especially the steps. Start practicing them, and you see that in no time you become better. So in the absence of any question, it's good that there's no question, so we can call it a day and people can go prepare for tomorrow. So I want to thank everyone who has joined us today. Remember to share the link to group members. That same link that you use in joining, the video is always there, permanently there. I don't delete my videos. So if you go to my YouTube channel, you see this video and so many other videos that I've done, trainings I've done. You see them there in this same YouTube channel. So share the link with friends, share it with people around you, and they will benefit from the same training. So next Sunday, we'll talk about the 5 stages. I think there are 5 stages of grieving. It's good you learn this thing. Since we're talking about trauma, we're talking about post-traumatic stress disorder. We'll end this series with grieving. Then we can start talking about so many other things. So I want to thank everyone who has joined. I want to apologize for the brief break in transmission. Something just happened and the whole setup just tripped off. So, but thank God that some of you remained and many others joined. I want to appreciate everyone, and I want to say have a blessed week. Thank you so much. Thank you.